Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with the review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, The Reunion, Part 3. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So the show started where it kind of ended last week, talking about Anthony and the fact that he did admit that he said what he said about Ralph. And really, you guys, Sheree and Drew are just up there to argue. We talk about the party that they were supposed to split 50-50. Okay, and Sheree not paying Drew. Sheree said that Drew was just trying to have a moment. She was just trying to play up the fact that everybody says that Sheree doesn't pay. Somebody wrote in and asked why the ladies weren't as upset as they should have been when Fatum did the background check on Drew and Ralph. Like, that was taking it too far, which I agree was taking it too far. And they all said that it was taking it too far too, even though they didn't say anything at the time, but I think everybody was just sort of like, girl, doing all of that, like you really was trying to, Fatum was a little bit thirsty. I think Fatum wants to be a housewife, but there's a fine line. Sometimes you do too much. Fatum was on the other side of doing too much. The ladies basically said, or Sanya said, that they felt like Drew was mad and she had the right to be mad. However, it was like misdirected anger and she wasn't really mad at the right person. She really should have just been mad at Fatum, but Drew was just pissed, period. But even with all of the not likings of Drew, the ladies said that they did feel bad that Drew got hurt while they were in Jamaica. Sheree came and visited her when she got back from Jamaica and brought a gift. And even Sanya said she felt really bad because she was being a good sport racing Marlo in that race. And she actually knows how bad it is to tear your Achilles. And, she'd already had one torn before. So she just felt bad for her. That is a pretty bad injury. But I think the bottom line is Sheree and Drew won't ever really be friends like that. They're always going to be shading sisters. They will always talk about each other because that's just kind of what they will do. They go to a break. Even after the cameras are off, all right, Sheree and Drew are talking about Anthony and what he said and how he said that Ralph was gay and Sheree didn't have any money and blah, 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 blah. And Andy was just like, I think it's just clear that Anthony is not a good person. You guys need to get rid of Anthony. I told you guys Andy was not feeling Anthony. Who felt Anthony? Why is he even a subject on the show, child? Now, what's up next is the men. The men are coming. They're all backstage waiting to be called up. It's Todd, it's Ross, and it is Ralph. Apparently before, right when they got there that morning, you guys know they get there early in the morning so that they can get their makeup and hair and get dressed and all that done. They got there early and Todd and the fellas was all going to the bar and Kandi was just like, Todd, now you gonna have to be ready. Like, nigga, don't come up there being drunk. Okay, no, take your ass to the back and get yourself dressed and ready, okay? Trying to do shots at the bar and whatnot. But the men are all laughing. Todd sees them and was like, are y'all ready for what's about to happen? And they just was like, yeah, I guess, okay. We already know, Ralph, do you gaslight your wife? Okay, Todd, all right, Todd said that he ain't made no money yet. All of the years that he been with Kandi, he's like, he still ain't made no money. They gonna talk about him being broke. It's always the same thing. I like the fact that these men are all pretty, the men usually are, with the exception of Peter and maybe Apollo, the men usually are all pretty easygoing, but Peter and Apollo, they was a special breed. Patricia and Apollonia. So anyway, we go back, officially back on, the men come out, the men look great. They're all very good looking men, even Todd in his tiny, tiny status, okay? But that beard looked nice. He looked really good in his black, but Ross and Ralph in the white, oh my God. Y'all, I'm telling you, that Ross, he is a suit. Remember, I wasn't sure because his head is a little too flat in the back. It's okay, because he is fine as fuck. I was like, oh my God. In that white suit, I scared you blue. I'm sorry. When I said, oh my God, he jumped. But child, he was, Todd said that they was his backup singers. I don't know what they were, but they all looked good. I was here for the pips. Anyways, Andy was like, so you guys all get along very well. And they were like, yeah, they hang out outside of the show. And they don't care about the wives drama. You know, I'm sure Todd is getting everybody up to speed. Like, don't get involved in the women's shit. Let them handle their things. It's all for TV. It's smoke and mirrors. It's not even real. Like, just, you know, we ain't in it, you know. So they've been able to maintain their friendship. They don't care about what the women's drama is. So now we talk to Ross and Sanya about them wanting to have a baby. Ross says that he's excited about the baby and that they are on the same page now. You know, when Sanya was saying that she didn't really want to have a baby, he couldn't really understand. He had to have a talk with his mom. Sometimes those mothers can make it clear for you. And once he was able to get clarification from his mama, then he was just like, oh, okay, that's what you meant. So he is now going to help Sanya in whichever way that she needs when she has this baby. So as far as we know, they're trying to have a baby. Remember, she said hopefully by the end of this year, she'll be pregnant. As far as the comment from Kenya saying that he was aggressive, now I'm glad we're talking about this here. I figured that we would. You know, what did Ross feel about it? And Ross said, well, I mean, I kind of understood where she was coming from, but I don't think that that was really the right word for her to use. Well, Kenya, what do you say about that? Kenya says, well, you know, we did actually speak to each other on the plane the next day. And, you know, I did feel, you know, I did think that it was good that he was speaking up for his wife. So I'm thinking to myself, like, so what does that mean exactly? Was the man being aggressive, or did you feel good about the fact that he was speaking up for his wife? Maybe the Kenya stands can explain that to me, okay? Because we've been back and forth about this whole aggressive thing. It doesn't even feel like Kenya really meant what she said, but I'll leave y'all to that. Now we jump over to Kandi and Todd. He tells Kandi that he wore her vibrating panties on his Watch What Happens Live, and that Marlo had the remote. And Kandi was just like, what? Really? How was that? He said it was wild. I guess it was. They showed a little clip. I was just like, now how we didn't know that Andy had on some damn vibrating panties? Kandi didn't even know. Now, Marlo, you had a lot to say about Kandi and Todd in New York, all right? The funny thing is Marlo is all about apologies this reunion. And Marlo actually does do that all the time, but it was just like, girl, you were standing so strong on what you were saying with such conviction during the whole season for you to get up on this damn reunion and be apologizing. You saw that shit didn't work the way that you thought it was during the season. Remember I told you guys that Marlo just be saying whatever the fuck comes to her mind? She even confirmed it. You know, Andy, I just feel that every man cheats. It's just how I think. It was my upbringing. But it wasn't my place to talk about Todd, so I apologize. Okay, that was the first apology. And Todd was just sort of like, I mean, okay, she apologized, I guess. Like, he don't care one way or the other. Sheree, what about you talking about, you know, the streets be talking about Todd and Kandi and what Todd is doing out there in New York when Kandi isn't around? Okay. She was just like, well, you know, everybody is always, the streets are always talking. But no, I haven't heard anything, you know, in particular about Todd being out there doing whatever. Motherfuckers just be looking for a sound bite, okay? They just want to have something clever and cute to say in them confessionals. Everybody know that Todd ain't fucking around on Kandi. This nigga ain't trying to lose his meal ticket. I'm just kidding. I honestly do believe that Todd pulls his weight in that relationship. I'm just joking. But you know, it's just sort of like, Todd would be stupid to be fucking around on Kandi at this point. But that's not to say that men ain't stupid, honey. We done seen it happen plenty of times. Todd, do you be cutting up in them streets? And he was like, well, Mama Joy's been saying it since the beginning. But, I mean, nobody's been able to turn up the person that I'm supposed to be cutting up with. So, as of now, no, I don't believe that I am. Okay, well, Kandi, let's talk about you and you know, having that EGOT right in your vision. So she has the Broadway play Piano Man. And she was just like, well, Andy, you know that the red carpet for Piano Man is going to be on the same weekend as BravoCon. So I'm going to be really busy that weekend. I said, oh, Kandi's going to be at BravoCon? She doesn't usually go. I mean, maybe she does, and I just haven't seen her at the places. But, and Piano Man has already started, so maybe they started earlier than they thought. But I don't know if I did see pictures from the red carpet. So maybe they had the dates, they pushed it up or something. Okay, they discussed Kandi saying that she doesn't want Todd to remarry when she dies. She was just like, everybody is trying to knock me off early. Okay. No, we're not trying to knock you off early, Kandi. We're just saying. And she said the only reason why she felt that way is because her grandfather, I guess after the grandmother passed, the grandfather remarried, and old girl must have gave the family hell. Okay, and must have took over all of the grandfather's shit and all of that. So she's trying to avoid that kind of situation. I mean, when you dead, you can't avoid nothing. Todd most likely would probably remarry because he's young and he's a good looking man and he's, successful, and somebody got to help take care of these damn kids, even though he is daddy daycare, like he said. Todd said he just thought that Kandi loved him and that she just wanted him all for himself. Honey, when she dead, anybody could get to you. But Kandi and Todd are fine. And the reason why their marriage hasn't been in jeopardy, I believe, is because they both really understand the game, the reality show game, the machine, how it all works. Now, let's move on to Drew and Ralph. I can tell you the whole time that they were on the screen, I rolled my eyes. First of all, Ralph with this, oh, my wife, I need to understand her heart, and I need to listen to her more, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. And Drew, and I'm his trigger, and I just learned that now. But then I was just like, oh, my God. Now, you talk about motherfuckers that understand the game. When I tell you that these two must have sat down and came up with a firm plan for this season, all right? They played it to a T. And I don't believe any of Drew and Ralph's storyline at all. None. Okay, last season, they kind of had us going. This season, bullshit. So anyway, we asked Ralph, did you fire your assistant? Yes, I did fire my assistant. And I know that my love for my wife didn't reflect on the show, so I'm going to have to do a better job at showing that. I'm sorry for that, baby. Oh, good, Ralph. What about the men laughing at the text messages from the assistant? Do you guys think it's funny now? Ross was like, it was funny then and it's still funny today. Todd says, look, I'm going to take whatever side Drew is on, okay? How Drew feel about it is how Todd feel about it. One of the viewers said, why didn't anybody get upset when Kenya went off on Ralph? Nobody said anything to Kenya. But then when Marlo said something about Ralph when they were in Jamaica, then everybody wanted to jump on Marlo. And Kandi was just like, well, I don't know if everybody jumped on Marlo. I know I said something. Nobody really jumped on Marlo. It was really just Kandi. Kandi and Marlo going back and forth. Okay, and what about dropping with Drew and how you guys all shaded dropping with Drew? And they didn't think that they did. I was like, yeah, you guys were quite shady. Maybe not to Drew's face, but you guys had a lot to say in the confessional. And Drew was just like, yeah, I did take offense to it because, I'm a woman and I just had kids and, she worked hard to get her body back down, that she's just trying to concentrate on health and wellness. And as the face of dropping it with Drew, and they were like, well, that's the whole thing. Like, they wasn't really being shady. It's just that Drew was trying to make it seem like it was her thing. Like she came up with the idea and she birthed it from the ground and built it to what it is. But really, she is only just the face of the program. That's not the way that she was presenting it to everybody. Drew didn't appreciate being called a busted can of biscuits. It's so funny that you get to these reunions and you're able to just really confront everybody about the shit that they said, okay? Drew didn't look like no busted can of biscuits. She might not be as shapely as the rest at that time. She looked great at the reunion. Like, she really looked great. You can tell that she's been working on her body. But, a lot of her working on her body has to do with, the things that the people have said about her. All right. She just had a regular average woman's body after you've had a kid. She didn't look, the way that they was trying to make it seem. And even Sheree said, I apologize. I didn't know your story, No, you don't look like a busted can of biscuits. I said, well, what does she look like, Sheree? How does Ralph feel about Sheree calling him gay or saying that Anthony said that he was gay? And Ralph was like, yeah, I had a problem with that, and Sheree was trying to interrupt him. He's like, hold on, let me speak, You know for a fact that I'm not gay. And Sheree was like, no, I don't know that for a fact. How would I know for a fact that you're not gay? I said that I don't believe that you're gay, but I don't know for a fact that you're not gay. Well, Sheree, do you regret any of the things that you said about Ralph? She's like, what did I say? You know, Sheree never remembers the shit that she said. Okay. They rolled the tape. And when Drew threw the dildo, Sheree was like, now did Drew just throw Ralph's dildo out there at Fatum? She was just like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Now that was fun. That was shade. Okay. And I do apologize for that. Yeah, girl. Anyway, we listened to them go back and forth about both of their fake businesses because really dropping it with Drew is about as real as She by Sheree, okay, at this point. Well, the She by Sheree that Sheree was trying to tell us that it was. I mean, I know that she's come out with something, but it wasn't the shit that was on the show in the fashion show. Now, Ralph, what about you going off on your wife at dinner? And he was like, you know, I just wanted to do something amazing for her. I really wanted to, you know, go all out and all of this. And, you know, he now realizes that, you know, he needed to understand her heart and understand what she needed so that he can provide that, you know. And she was just like, yeah, you know, he's really amazing. He does really nice things for me all the time. He tries to shower me with things, you know. It's just that, you know, I am a trigger for him. And now I realize that. And I was just like, oh my God, you know. Andy was just like, are you guys still in therapy? Yes, can you tell? Yes, we can tell that the damn therapist and fed you all these fucking psycho babble lines that we got to sit here and listen to you guys with this old soft ass voice from Ralph and Drew, you know, trying to convince us that Ralph is probably a good dude because like I said, I don't believe none of the shit that they say that they going through on the show anyway. He might be a slight asshole and everything, but nothing like how they was trying to make it seem. So anyway, the editing about the gaslighting, okay? It actually was quite funny. And again, Ralph, well, you know, when I watched it back, I could see that, you know, I do not say the words right, so maybe I can adjust my attitude and... What about this book that Ralph is writing? And Ralph was like, yeah, he's still coming out with the book. He kind of feels like people don't really understand exactly what the book is about. It's not necessarily about his own personal experience with Josiah and the fact that Drew wants him to adopt. You know, I think he's tried to make it more general. He tries to give us some points and the nigga couldn't remember everything. I was like, did you have a ghostwriter, Ralph? You know, Kandi was just like, what did you write in the book? Like, nigga, that's point 3. Can't come up. Now, she was mad that she didn't know anything about the book deal until after he signed the book deal, okay? Because Ralph was like, you know, I flew her to Chicago and, you know, we had dinner and I told her and she was just like, yeah, you didn't tell me anything until after you already signed the deal. I didn't even know you were shopping a book deal around. Listen, I am over Drew and Ralph. They look like they doing just fine. Good for them. Okay, we want to see all the marriages make it. So, I mean, whatever works for them, fine. But I'm not believing none of this shit. I don't care. Like, moving on. Then, you guys, we move on to Kandi and Marlo. And they show the clip when Kandi was just like, I am not Michelle Obama. Okay, if you go low, I'm going to go lower. Okay, I'm going to go low right with you. So, when they came back to the show, Kandi was just like, well, I just want to say, Michelle, if you watching, I love you very much, and I'm just not at the level of keeping it high. Bitch, we in Atlanta, honey. It's good out here. We got to make shit happen. Okay, motherfuckers want to go low, we going lower. Marlo, about you saying that Kandi doesn't do anything for the community. Marlo was just like, well, you know, it's just me. You know, I get upset, I just say anything. Okay, everybody knows that Kandi does do stuff for the community. So I apologize for that. Here goes another apology from old Marlo. Somebody writes in and says, why do you guys think that Kandi should be a good friend to you guys when none of you guys are really a good friend to Kandi? Why do we expect so much out of Kandi when you guys have so much shit to say about Kandi? Sheree, do you think that you were being a good friend to Kandi? Sheree was just like, well, you know, not right now, but, you know, in the past, you know, she was a good friend to Kandi and she's always been in her corner and all that. And Kandi was just like, what about when you told Kim that I wanted to lick her box? Okay, you ain't said that to me. You said it to Kim. I had to find out about it on the show. You know, Sheree was just like, well, everybody says something about everybody behind their backs, which is true. But if you guys notice, Kandi is going to go back and say, if somebody has said something about somebody around her, she going to go back and tell the person. Because she don't want to be the person where they be like, Kandi, you was sitting right there and you didn't say nothing. Even though this season, Kandi didn't say, well, let's see. Kandi, who told Kandi? No. Yeah, okay. So Drew told Kandi that Sheree supposedly didn't pay the bills, and Kandi actually told Kenya. Kandi didn't tell Sheree directly. So that's usually not how Kandi operates. Kandi usually will go back with her big mouth and tell whoever, because she was like, you ain't gonna get me caught up in the trick bag. That's usually how she worked, but it didn't happen that way this season. Or maybe she just didn't get to Sheree in time. What about Todd being below Kandi's tax bracket? Todd was just like, everybody in this room is below Kandi's tax bracket. You know, everybody was just like, she worldwide. And then that Marlo was just like, wait a minute, not Andy. Not Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen is not below Kandi's tax bracket. Marlo, what about when you was talking about Ralph when you guys were in Jamaica? And, you know, Marlo said that she was triggered, that it just upset her so, you know, and that she apologized to Ralph for going off on him like that, but that's just what it was, okay? What about you and Todd? You know, well, you know, I should have just kept that between me and Kandi, because me and Todd have always been good. Every time I see Todd, you know, we solid. So I shouldn't have said what I said about Todd, so I apologize. There was that apology number 4. Damn, Marlo full of apologies, right? Okay, so Todd, do you accept the apology? Todd was just like, man, you know, like, he's always like that too. Like, you know, like Marlo, you know, she just been thirsty in the past. I mean, there's things I could say about her. Well, like what, Todd? Well, you know, when Todd used to work in production, you know, he knew the behind the scenes things. Okay, and Marlo was a little thirsty when they first got on the show. Okay. How was she thirsty? Well, for instance, when they went to South Africa, you know, she wanted to be around the girls so much that she actually paid for her trip. Like, she paid for her flight there, she paid for her expenses and all of that. You know, Marlo, did I pay for my hotel room? And he was like, you paid for everything. And she was just like, I didn't pay for my room. I was just like, it don't matter. What he's saying is, the only way that you were able to come on the trip is that you had to pay for yourself. Like, yes, you were thirsty. I mean, Marlo wanted to be on the show. I mean, you can't be mad at that, but he's just making a point. Like, you know, you trying to talk about everybody else, but bitch, you had a time in your life before you got this peach, you know, when you really wanted to be on this show and you did whatever you had to do it. Then we get into the debate about Marlo and Kandi, and, you know, now Kandi is definitely worldwide. She's known. I'm sure that this show has helped her for sure. And, you know, she's used it, her platform, to get her where she is. So Kandi can get in the rooms. Marlo, you guys, I'm going to tell you this. I've said this before in the past. Like, I had a friend who worked who was, you know, knew about socialites and things that's going on in Atlanta. Before Marlo was on this show, she used to talk so much about Marlo and saying like, oh my God, Roxanne, the things, I mean, she knows all of the people like these ones here, and they love her so much. And she's like, you know, always invited to all of the, you know, the things in Atlanta, the who's who, you know, she was Ted, homeboy, Ted Turner, like in that circle. So Marlo really was a part of that circle as well. I don't even know if she was still considered worldwide, but I think that Marlo definitely was running with some powerful folks before she even got to be the housewife friend on this show. Okay. I wouldn't compare her popularity to Kandi's, but she definitely was. Now, I don't know about today as far as them going to Paris. I still do believe that, you know, Marlo, because she's so much into the fashion game, that she does have some weight when it comes to these different designers and, you know, them allowing her to, you know, be able to pull special strings so that she can have the Fendi rep, for example, come to her house and do all of that, okay? But Kandi can do that too, all right? But yeah, you guys, Marlo did, because I've known about Marlo before she got on this show. Like, she really did have some pull. She carried some weight around Atlanta. But as far as her saying that her, you know, there's some doors that she should be able to get in Paris that Kandi wouldn't be able to, I don't think that I believe that. I think Kandi would be able to get in there just as fine. So anyway, Kandi is fine with Marlo because Kandi said, like, Now y'all know Kandi is good at holding a grudge, honey. Kandi will stay mad because she's a Taurus, and that's what Tauruses do. But the fact that Todd was just like, man, I don't care about what Marlo says. Like, you know, he don't care. He ain't mad no more. So Kandi was just like, well, fuck, I'm staying mad for him. He fine. He was the one that she really was attacking. It wasn't even really Kandi. It was more so Todd. If he fine, Kandi gonna be fine and move on, because life is too fucking short to be being mad at all these fucking people. And again, like I said, Marlo just be talking. And it don't be making no sense. If it was something that maybe you could hold on to and believe, that's one thing. But for her to say that Kandi don't do shit around the community, everybody knows that Kandi does a whole lot around Atlanta, okay? And in other places too, but Atlanta especially. But when Marlo was saying, Kandi knows that I'm not a nasty person. Marlo, you are quite the nasty person. And you do say a whole lot of very horrible shit. She be gutter with her thing. I'm gonna tell you, I think they're gonna let Marlo be a housewife next season, but we're gonna see how Marlo rolled next season. She gonna have to change up some shit. The way that she was, she obviously realized didn't work, because all of these damn apologies and shit that she's doing. But we're gonna see how her peach, okay, how that shit shines next season, because all these apologies, I think Marlo was just like, boy, I better straighten up and fly right, okay? So anyway, that was it with the men. Andy tells the men that they can go. And then Ross was like, in one more word, Andy. I was like, what you got to say, Ross? Joe, fine. So if I saw one, he was like, and don't nobody fuck with my wife, okay? So lastly, you guys, after they come back from the break, Andy says that he just wants to hear from everybody and, you know, just kind of tell us about what you have positive, what you've taken positive from this season. Okay, so we start with Sanya. All right. Sanya said that she thinks that this is a group of incredible women and that she's enjoying getting to know everybody. That it does feel like a sisterhood for her, that she wants to bond with them all. Drew, what about you? Well, it's been challenging, but you know, I am trying to be my authentic and true self. I was like, a fucking lie, don't care who tell it. Your true and authentic self, huh? She wants them to have grace with her because she is working on herself and all. So you guys, just don't be so hard on Drew all the time. She's getting herself together. Marlo said that she learned that she needs to think before she speaks. I said, you think? Deliver the message better. Maybe I should text him or something. Kenya says that resilience is her thought. You know, that you can come back bigger and stronger and you can be happier and, you know, you can let that shine and let people see, you know, that you've changed or whatever you're going through. So that's what she takes positive from the season. Kandi said, bitch, I'm worldwide and I own it. I said, I know that's right, Kandi. What about you, Sheree? Sheree said that she does feel the sisterhood as well. And even though they have been fighting and having shit to say about each other, she truly did feel that the She by Sheree fashion show, that everybody there was there to support her. They were happy for her. You know, they were celebrating for her. They were very impressed. They all were very impressed. They were like, the designs were great. You know, they looking forward to buying the stuff from her website and everything. So Sheree was just like, well, you know, I work best under pressure. So where the designs that was on the fashion show at, Sheree? What you working hard on? Taking that man's designs? Girl, you is a lie. You is a lie. And then finally, you guys, usually at the end of the show, Andy usually brings out champagne or, you know, something that pertains to something that happened in the season for them to eat or drink, you know, and they kind of break bread together and then he closes it out. Well, this time we have fashions from She by Sheree that she is going to give to the girls. They wheel out this clothing rack and all the cute things on there. Oh, that is cute. Oh, I love the bag. I was like, girl, you ain't gonna get none of that on the website. And Andy closes it out and says that is it for season 14 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I thought it was a cute enough season, you guys. What did you guys think? All right, you guys, that is it. Let me get off of here. I'm gonna get this edited and up to you. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm itsrox. The channel is itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.